Hi, it's Sandra here from Creating Spain, and today is the first video I've made for a little while. I've had guests over Christmas and indeed after Christmas, and so although I've been crafting, I haven't been making any videos, so apologies for that, but it will have to do. Right, so a bit of a product review today. Amongst my presents that I actually requested, as I've got to the stage where I actually make a list and let people peruse the list and see if there's anything on there they'd like to get me. I had a set of Pearl. It's come from the States and it's lovely stuff. I've got 12 colours and it's a powder pigment, very fine, and you can use it dusted on a sticky surface and it will coat and colour it. You can you can mix it, I should say, rather than dilute it. You can mix it with water, gum, glue, all sorts of mediums. If you can actually mix it together, you can add it if you so wish. But you can also use it for stamping with an embossing ink. So you can use it with a plain colourless Versamark ink if you wish, or alternatively you can actually stamp with a coloured ink and then get a different result altogether. Now, I love these. I'm not going to show you how to use it per se because it's pretty obvious. You stamp your image, you get a little fluffy brush and you brush it over and it covers the image. You then take a very soft cloth, maybe a dry wet wipe or something, and dust off any remaining powder. So it's very easy to use. Now, what I do advise, if you actually do this, is to do some colour swatches. And you should be able to see from here that I have both black paper and white paper, and what I did was I did a colour swatch on both black and white for each colour that I have, because the effects are completely different if you have a dark surface to a light surface. And so on the other side I have the rest of them, and I simply wrote down the colour name and then stamped the same image over and over again and applied the powder. So I'm going to laminate that later and keep it as a reference. Now, as I did mention, you can stamp with a different colour ink and then use the powder on that. Now, Pearl varies from Perfect Pearls in that Pearl does not have a binding agent. So in order to make it permanent so that it doesn't rub off, you need to seal it. Either by doing a light spray of hairspray or art sealant or anything else that you would normally use to, for example, seal a pencil drawing will do fine. The lack of a binder in this is, in my case, a deliberate choice, because the last thing I wanted was to put powder onto a piece of paper that maybe, just maybe, had a greasy fingerprint on it or something, and then have a powder bind to that because there was enough moisture in it to do so. So that was quite deliberate on my point. If you wish to make this up into a liquid spray, then my advice would be to put a tiny drop of liquid glue into the container as well. Obviously not enough to stop it spraying, but enough to just act as a binder. So gum arabic or another water-based glue would be fine. You can add this to mixes of varnish, or indeed you could actually use it through a stencil with an embossing pad and things. There are lots and lots of different uses, and I have to confess I really do like this stuff. I did here, just as a quick sample, a little stamp that I used the antique silver on. And so this is also quite handy if, for example, you quite like stamping but you don't like embossing. You can use this to get a nice pearlized finish. So that's quite handy. I did one here where I actually covered it with transparent sticky back plastic afterwards, and that again would work if you wanted to do that. So that's my pearlescent powder. There is another little thing that I purchased myself actually, and you may or may not have seen these before. I hadn't, but I think it's great, and I bought it in a shop called Tiger, which, although it's in Spain, is also in the UK, I believe, in a few areas. And this is supposed to be a facial massage pad. Do I want it for that? No, don't be silly. I decided that this would be a perfect thing to clean up my polymer stamps. And it is, because this is made of some kind of soft rubber, and these hairs, if you like, are all rubber hairs, and as such, firstly, they don't leave any traces on the polymer stamps. There's no hair or anything to get lost on them. They're nice and soft, so they don't damage anything. There's no risk of them damaging anything, and it is just deep enough to go into the stamp and clear out any gunk that's there. So that, with a bit of soap and water, brilliant, excellent. Not very expensive, can't remember how much it was, but I said it came from Tiger. The other review that I wanted to do, but I've not been able to do, and I'll explain why in a second, is on these pens that, again, were on my Christmas list, and I received a set of 4 Pilot Parallel calligraphy pens. Why can I not do a proper review on these at the moment? Well, at the moment I am having a problem with them. I have rung the manufacturer this morning, and I'm hoping to get a reply from them later today. I don't believe there is anything wrong with the actual pens themselves. They are quite unusual, and I'll pick out one of the bigger nibs so that you can see it more easily, in that it consists of 2 metal plates together, and you can actually write with the corner edges as well as the flat edge there, so you can get a very, very fat or very, very thin line depending on what you're doing. Now, they have cartridges in them, and the cartridge that I have in all of them is the one that came with each of the pens, and in there I think lies the problem. No matter what paper I have used these on, the ink bleeds. I don't think it's the pen, and I don't think it's the paper, because I've tried other fountain pens that I have, and they work fine on the paper that I've been using, and the ink does not bleed. So I believe it is the ink. I will hopefully get a reply from the manufacturers later on today, and I'm hoping that they not only say, yes, we are aware of this problem, but that, yes, we are doing something about it. I don't think it is right that a manufacturer should sell pens with an ink that is so very pernickety on what paper it will cleanly write on. And as such, I don't feel they've done themselves any favours, but I hope for a good result from the manufacturers, and I'll let you know when I get one. Okay, so that's it for the time being. I am working on some projects to do actual normal videos from, but I thought you might like to see these things. Okay, thanks very much for watching. Take care now.